welcome to the third installment of the PC Pop Culture News Show. I am Peter.
I'm Chad.
And we're here to talk about stuff. All forms of entertainment
and things.
And things and stuff and
Some
stuff
things.
and things. All forms of entertainment. I'm going to start off with a little bit about comic books. We've been talking about the same things in the comic books over and over and over because the big summer events coming up. I have some numbers I'm going to throw at you now. It's going to tie back into those events because that's what's going on now, but it gives a look at what's breaching the top 100 in sales, which is not much. If you go look at it, this is the books for April. It's a little bit outdated, but at least it's going to give you a snapshot of what is going on as far as the merchandising, and these are going to tie into the big summer crossovers, which kicked off with these issues. So it's a cool look at how it affects sales. From Marvel, Secret Empire #2 was the top #1 selling book. The second top seller was Batman #21, which had a lenticular cover, which featured Batman showing off the Watchmen pin, which is going to launch off their events for the season. There was also another copy of that without the special lenticular cover, which fell in the top 100 rankings. So big money for Batman. The next two books were both X-Men books. And after that, there was a lot more Batmans, a bunch of Wolverine influence on the top 100 book sales going into April. Breaching in the top 100 from Image is Walking Dead, which ranked in at number 10. American Gods by Neil Gaiman, also might have heard of the TV show. That is a Dark Horse book. It's not Marvel or DC. That was in the top 100, and a bit of a surprise, but a not happy surprise, was a book from Dynamite. It's called Sovereigns, and it is number 88 in the top 100 sales. The unfortunate part for them, while that looks good by numerical sales, for dollar sales, it's a $1 introduction book. It's 48 pages thick. They're losing money on that. So hooray for them to get it in front of a lot of people that have reached the top 100 being a not Marvel DC book, but it's unfortunate that they're giving it away, if not losing money on that book. But it's a quick snapshot. There was 4, maybe 5 books not from Marvel DC in the top 100. So I implore you folks, get out there, get educated on some unique books, try some new things out if you're already a collector. But head to the shelves that are a little more towards the back of the store and try some new things out. Try to figure out what might be, the next big thing to strike you.
Does that include digital sales?
That does not include digital sales. That is the actual paper copies.
That makes me ill.
But the digital sales, if you look at the trends in that, you're going to see month to month similar to this. It's going to be almost identical. But the independent books that do well will have a little bit more staying power. They won't hit that sales spike when they drop out because nobody's heard of them, but as they gather a fan base, they might maintain or increase sales a little bit, but still not to the profitability we're talking about here. What a lot of people have done as far as rolling the digital books into money is actually having a webcomic which releases weekly, monthly, and is short snippets, and then they would collect them into a trade paperback later and use that as a bit of a cash-in or collect it into a digital book and try to sell off of that. I know you're a big reader of the digital stuff.
Oh yes, don't give me any physicals. That's gross. I don't want to touch a book. Just don't. Ew.
Just because I read them on the pooper and then leave them in the
I read them on the pooper, but
don't digital. Toys in the mass market nerd region is Funko has released their Rick and Morty figures. So Rick and Morty figures, they're not like the Funko Pops. They're not the little blind grab bags things. These are actual articulated action figures. The first series is out right now, hitting the stands. It's going to be shipping to some stores in about 2 months, and online orders will be shipping out about now, so you might not have them yet. But the first series has Rick, Morty, Bird Person, Mr. Meeseeks, Mr. Butthole Poopy Pants, or Mr. Poopy Pants Butthole, and it is a build-your-own snowball set. So if you get all the figures, you can clink the pieces together to build Snowball. And in more particular toys...
Well, I'm a huge fan of the Lightseeker series. My Lightseekers figure, as we film this, is currently sitting on my doorstep, and I can't wait to try it. So next week, tune in, and I'll actually show you how a Lightseekers figure works in person.
Light Seekers being a series from...
It's a mobile app. It's a card game. It had a Kickstarter. I didn't contribute to it because I wasn't sure if it was going to take off or not. And to be honest with you, with Skylanders, Disney Infinity, all those kind of games, I was kind of burnt out and spending a lot of money on toys and not really getting a lot of bang for my buck. But this is one figure, $70. Okay, I get it. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but it does a lot. And we'll I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you're looking for a cut and dry review of the figure and seeing it in person, tune in next week.
We'll get a peek at that bad boy. Going out to the movies are coming up. There is a special one. This might appeal to some people, and you might not have heard. Resident Evil Vendetta, which is in their series of animated only movies. There's a one-time only showing, Monday, June 19th. So that is something. And then Transformers is coming out. There is going to be a special on the 20th, a special early showing to try to milk that money.
Here's a question for everybody out there, including you. I'm sure you've seen the trailer. Every time you go to the movies, there's
Optimus
the trailer.
Prime's trailer?
Any of them.
No.
Why in every Michael Bay film, I don't care about the explosions, I love explosions, I'd be lying if I said I didn't, but why is everyone sweaty, orange, and why is it always when the sun is setting? Every trailer. Sun setting, people are orange, sweaty and concerned.
It's romantic.
It's not. And he's talking to a little girl. Ew.
The orange thing, actually, and here's some fun tidbits for you from the artistic side. You'll find a lot of threads and forums discussing it because a lot of movie posters have a blue-orange split, and it's distinctly blue and orange. I think they've gotten away from it now that the public's kind of hot on Hollywood doing it, but they also do a separation of color in the movies, and it's to give some more depth. So you'll see that the backgrounds tend to run a more blue hue, and the foregrounds tend to run a little more orangish. I think it might help with the 3D, but I know that as far as just like setting mood and tone, and it's that way in nature, they just amplify it. The sky is blue, the ocean is blue, the background things run that earth tone blue color, just the way the atoms work, and people are orange. I hear there's people that are not the same color as us out there somewhere. It'd be interesting to see what they look like, but all the people I know are orange.
That one.
So that is part of it. It's an artistic thing on Hollywood's part. It has nothing to do with the actual race.
They just look sick. They look sick.
It can a little bit.
The first one, they really look sick.
When I'm over,
Megan Fox looks sick, and not in a good way.
I'm not impressed with her, to be honest.
I'm not either.
Personally, but
I'm not.
Regardless of
I'm
whether
not a virgin, so I don't need to watch her.
Sweaty boobs.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything for me. I'm good. I'm good.
I'm even better than twice. Twice is better.
That's fine.
But that's it. It's a depth and a feel thing. Reducing the colors is something that all of them do. Yeah,
every film, every trailer.
Give it more of a, not to say black and white, but I appreciate that because it makes it feel more
lens
movie,
flare,
especially with the super high definition. It feels less like they're in your living room, just as normal people, and more of a part of a movie I'm watching. But the color separation's there. Definitely, if you want to do that sometime, log on, look up the orange and blue movie posters.
Don't do it.
It'll make you a little sick to your stomach. You can also go through and find all the movie posters where everybody's in the same pose, and it's ridiculous. There is no more creativity. Everything's going to be a sequel. Everything's going to be a remake, and all the posters are going to be the same.
But speaking of remakes or retakes, the Power Rangers movie just came out. Digital release. I'm a big iTunes guy, so if you're waiting for me to talk about when something comes out on digital or on physical media, ew, no, gross. But I did see that movie in theaters. You haven't seen it, right?
I have not seen it at all.
We've never talked about Power Rangers. Are you a big Power Rangers fan?
I didn't grow up on the Power Rangers, but I appreciated them for what they were. Because I'm a big fan of any type of kung fu, and I like kaiju monsters, so it, for what it was a thing. But it wasn't a thing that wasn't. It wasn't a thing that was can't miss for me. I didn't have to rush home to see Power Rangers after school. I appreciated it. I remember when the figures came out, they had some large figures that were super articulated, fingers and everything. I was really excited, but just because I could do great wrestling holds with them is actually why I like those figures.
Well,
but I'm not anti-Power Rangers, not at all.
I'm a huge Power Rangers fan. I have every series on DVD that's available. I did watch this movie in theaters, and I went in there, as I'm sure a lot of you do, which now I can sympathize with a lot of you that get butthurt about superhero movies. I actually got butthurt at the movie theater. So I've been watching it slowly in small half-an-hour increments to try to warm up to it more and try to not include it with the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series. So I am trying to enjoy it. It's actually $14.99, and a lot of new releases on iTunes are usually $19.99. So that's any indicator there that they want people to watch it. So that's out there. I can't wait to explore the extras. I'm hoping for some explanations on why Goldar looks like a Velveeta commercial gone wrong. But
how could that go wrong?
In so many ways.
I was actually, I had it on my watch list and to see it in the theaters, and when I went to see whatever movie preceded it, all of the trailers, even trailers I wasn't expecting to get me pumped up, got me pumped up, and then the Power Rangers trailer came on, and it just deflated me. From the race jokes of the colors of the Rangers to the silly superpower things, and just, it seemed campy, which is what you want from Power Rangers, just not the campy for me.
I just, I was actually talking to some other people about this today. I don't know who they were advertising to. They weren't advertising to me.
Right.
It's not a kids movie.
Not for the kids.
I don't understand if they were just trying to bring in some other people that like that kind of thing, but it's a very particular audience. And the thing is, I guess it really, again, I'm going to try not to be negative, but they really mentioned some super specific things from other series. So it's kind of like pick a lane,
good Easter eggs to kind of give you.
It's not even Easter eggs; they're embedded into the story. So it makes you wonder, like,
so
if it wasn't for me, the diehard Power Rangers fan, then who was it for? So I hope you guys watch it. I hope you tell us what you think about it. Leave us some comments, or perhaps tweet us, and we'll get to all that information at the end.
If we double back to the idea, well, jeez, I lost my track for a second. The Power Rangers, yeah, it turned me off. Eventually I am going to check it out. When you're doing remake Hollywood and you're touching a property, please keep the heart behind the property. Don't just think I'm going to make a newer version with bigger effects, because that's where a lot of sequels fail too. Instead of making a new movie, they just make the same movie but with bigger effects and less heart. Please don't do that. Don't do it for horror movies. Don't do it for action movies. Don't do it for childhood things we grew up on. Think of why it was made and what the heart was up behind it in the first place, because that's what a lot of them are missing. The flash and the flare is great. The modernization can be great. Keep that heart.
Oh, I agree with that.
So go back to Transformers. That's something that upset me with the last one that came out.
I like the last one.
I could watch giant robots fight all day long. I was all right with it. But here's what Michael Bay, I think part of his formula is, he wants something for everybody. So he's got, and I can appreciate, like, when a movie's funny and it's got jokes I don't necessarily like, I can appreciate that those jokes are for some people. But you go to Transformers, and it's the whole pick a lane thing is what brought this on in my head. Because he's got these goofy Transformers. Guy with a trench coat. Guy who acts like he's Asian and has Asian features and swords and an accent from space. And then a guy...
Well, judging that based off what he said they were, he assimilated that personality from the internet and chose that personality to be the Chinese guy. Which is fine. It's just strange out of all things when everyone else is,
Yeah, and it's, well, again, a robot trench coat, and you got a big guy smoking a robot cigar. Fine for the kids. It's silly. It's fun. I can appreciate it because I still got my cool dinosaur robots and Optimus Prime. But here's the thing. If that's cool and for the kids, why is there swearing all throughout the movie? So you got the swearing, you got the explosions, you got that, you got the sexy girl who's the guy's daughter, which another weird thing.
You gotta have one because apparently his Transformer fans are,
desire sexy girls, but in this case it's his young daughter who's dating a race car driver who's a cannon for a lot of other bad jokes. I appreciate the idea of something for everyone, but pick a lane, stay true to it. I think that would make me a little happier. The new one, I'm going to see it. I don't care what smack people talk, because giant robots on a giant screen, I'm in. You're going to hold out, really?
I'm going to hold out. I'm intrigued to see where this goes, because I like the Transformers films. I liked all of them, because I'm more of an Optimus Prime fan than I am of the actual Transformers. So if you have the original voice actor... If he had a different
voice, I would have been out.
Oh, yeah, straight up. I'm like, no. So I worry constantly that one of these days he's going to join the rest of our...
Michael Bay said he's got dozens of Transformer movie ideas in his head that he could keep the franchise going forever. I keep seeing them in hopes of that they're going to get it completely right. And I haven't hated any of them, but I haven't loved any of them. But
love the
giant
first one.
robots, I hope they can trim out some of the silly nonsense human stuff and just keep it super awesome giant robot-y. So, as I was saying, the 20th, the new Transformers Last Night movie comes out in an early premium format. It's 3D, it's RPX, it's IMAX, and you even get a shirt as part of your package deal for the early showings. Check that out. If it's not sold out near you, it's going to sell out soon. I just checked my showing near me. It's not sold out yet. The very next day, June 21st, the actual full movie comes out if you're just interested in seeing the movie and you don't want bragging rights. On June 30th, Despicable Me #3 is coming out. And July kicks off with Spider-Man Homecoming on July 7th. Also, I have yet to see La Mummy. I probably won't. But that is the first of many movies, as we've talked in previous weeks, that is going to be building into the Dark Universe from Universal. And they've been dropping character names out there for who's going to be a part of this thing as far as what creatures. Still don't know a lot about the project, if it's going to be a big Avengers-like movie, or there's just going to be a bajillion movies strung together. Not a lot on it, but we do know that there's a lot of creatures. Everybody's being cautiously optimistic because it sounds cool, but many great things have been ruined, and the more names you throw into something, the easier it is to ruin it when you're trying to feed egos and track and just coordinate it, keep everybody happy. So what other characters, aside from potentially this mummy, I'm assuming would be the character over Tom Cruise, that goes forward with this universe. What other characters have you heard are going to be part of this thing?
Well, I am going to probably see it this weekend, so for the next show, make sure you tune in to hear my review, because I am a fan of the Brendan Fraser mummy. Some of the other characters that have been announced are the Bride of Frankenstein, of course, Dr. Jekyll, so of course you're going to get Mr. Hyde, and the Invisible Man, which will be played by Johnny Depp. So that's about all I'm going to give you, because I think anything else would be giving some spoilers. But this is not a spoiler. They are to say to have the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's film will tie a bunch of the films together. So I'll leave you with that snippet of curiosity.
That potentiality could be cool. I'm also hearing Phantom of the Opera. So they're going all out. A lot of these characters are based on books. They are public domain, but the Universal versions... Universal owns. So,
yeah, they're iconic. You can't compete with that.
Yeah, they're famous for it. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this pans out. It's either going to be fantastic and epic to sit back and enjoy as a fan, or it's going to be wondrous to just stare out your window and drive by at the absolute car wreck that they're going to turn it into. But fingers are crossed. Again, cautiously optimistic. Really hoping that they take this and make it a cool franchise. Do something cool with the characters, creating this shared universe of monsters. I'm feeling a lot like it's going to be more action movies with monsters in it, then it's going to be horror movies that are strung together, but it'll be cool to check out. Again, could go very wrong, but I'm hoping it goes very right. We have coming on television, The Punisher has a release date for November, coming up on Netflix as a Netflix exclusive, and SpongeBob has got renewed for another season. I think they're on their 37th year of SpongeBob cartoons. And there's a new movie, which will be the third actual theatrical movie, coming out in 2019. If you want to fluff on movies for a minute, I'm going to actually pull up a bunch of crystal ball dates here.
Well, I actually want to touch on the whole horror concept, because I think a lot of people are expecting to be scared, but the trend of horror lately is like Paranormal Activity, The Conjuring, jump scares, ghosts, things of that nature that are much more horrific. If you watch and are a fan of the Universal monsters, you'll understand that it's a slow burn, and the things that were scary back then were the things featured in those films. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, use the Brendan Fraser mummy as a point of reference, where it was kind of gross, kind of weird, but mostly an action film. And that's why I'm looking forward to this one. At first, I didn't know what to make of it, because until you actually mentioned this whole Dark Universe thing, I didn't even really know what was going on. I also didn't know, and I feel pretty stupid about this, and I think I mentioned this last week, I didn't even know that the Brendan Fraser Mummy was a remake of the original Mummy. So I still have to watch the original Mummy just to get all the point of references. The other thing that I had read that made me feel good about this movie that's coming out is that it's in present day, because at first I was like, well, I mean, what time period is this all going to be at? Because the Brendan Fraser's Mummy, and I believe the original Mummy, takes place, I want to say, in the 30s. So if that was the case, how are we going to fast forward to maybe a modern day, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, or a modern day Phantom of the Opera? And I don't have to worry about that anymore. So we'll see. And I'm very excited to see what Frankenstein's going to look like.
And the question I would have too, with the new Mummy being an adventure Indiana Jonesy movie, from what I've heard from good critics, are the other movies, are the monsters going to be the stars, or are they going to be the MacGuffins?
Well, I keep saying Frankenstein, but Frankenstein, it's actually Dr. Frankenstein's creation. So relax yourselves out there. But that's the kind of thing. Like, I think in some movies, I think Tom Cruise is obviously going to be the lead in this one, and it was like that with the Brendan Fraser one, where the guy, the action star, was the one in it, and the monster was the attraction, whereas the actors were more of the subject matter, I would say. So that's what I think you could expect. I think it's going to be based on strictly, it's going to be based on the storyline, because I think with Frankenstein, it's going to be based around him, and I think with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, it's going to be based around them.
He can kind of be both characters.
Yeah,
he can be the
but
star
the mummy
and the
is you can't relate to a mummy, so...
Speak for yourself, son.
Well, I can't, except for that 6th grade project where we had to mummify chickens. It's super disgusting. What a waste of food. I threw up.
I think McDonald's already does that for 99 cents.
That's fine. That tastes okay.
So, other movies in the crystal ball, in the ether, this could easily change. This is just looking at the haze of the future. Yes, they're announced dates, but anything can happen, because they can announce a movie, something before it doesn't do well, so they drop it. They change the date. Happened with Marvel. Marvel released a slate of movies. They had an Inhumans movie. Chopped that off. People were excited, but they chopped it off. They kind of worked the Inhumans into TV series runs that they got. So, crystal ball, don't take it on good faith. For the most part, though, let's get excited in the back of our little minds. So you got...
big mind, bro. Big mind.
The Power Grayskull Masters of the Universe movie 2019. I don't know anything about it, but that's a potentiality. I'm really apprehensive about it, but
I'm not. I like the other one. I thought the other one was good. I thought it was good.
One?
I thought it was phenomenal. I enjoyed it as a kid, and I still enjoy it today.
I enjoyed it as a canon movie,
Love the
but
soundtrack.
I was super disappointed as a kidling because it
Love the key.
didn't have the elements I wanted, man. A new Indiana Jones movie coming July 10th of 2020, and it's going to be Spielberg and Harrison Ford, according to the Now. Harrison Ford keeps getting hurt leading into Star Wars movies, so who knows what's going to happen when we lead into Indiana Jones. Again, apprehensive. We'll see what happens. One of the ones I'm most excited about is Wreck-It Ralph is getting a second one. Ralph Breaks the Internet, slated for November 21st of 2018. Video game guy and a movie guy. Did you love that or what?
I really liked Wreck-It Ralph. If you apply too much logic to anything, it doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't think too much.
So I try not to. I am curious to see where they're going to go with this, because I think it's interesting. When the movie first came out and they were talking about sequels, they immediately mentioned online gaming, and they're actually following through with it and didn't change course. So I'm a little curious. I like modern games, but I love the classic video games. I'm actually a bigger Sega nerd than I am a Nintendo nerd. I love Sonic the Hedgehog. But I'm excited for it. It's Disney. Of course, it's going to be good. So
the first one, I was a little afraid that it'd just be, hey, throwback Nintendo nostalgias, and hey, look, it's Pac-Man. That's funny. They worked the characters in well. They worked them in smart. The whole movie had a lot of heart. It was just true to everything I would want it to be true to. It was a very smart, great movie. And I enjoyed it, and I greatly look forward to living in these characters' world again for a second movie. Coming out also, a lot of Disney stuff now. This is a lot of stuff I pulled from the Disney site. Gigantic, November 25th of 2020, which is going to be a Jack and the Beanstalk type story.
because we need another one of those.
Hey, the Frozen team's working on it, so we'll see what happens. We got Star Wars. This is kind of a big news. Star Wars on May 24th of 2019 is going to be the 9th Star Wars.
Not Christmas. That's weird.
Correct, yeah. So that's throwing everybody for a loop. Again, we'll see what happens when it happens, but looks like they obviously filming the next couple back-to-back. They must have just had a tighter package than they thought. Maybe moving things up is going to change the timeline for the other movies. I don't know, but definitely something going on. I was surprised they didn't do a May 4th to capitalize on what's already an eventful day, but then maybe this is just building that tension up to a May release. This year, May 4th, Disney, of course, owns Star Wars. Disney owns Marvel. They've been releasing for the past several years a Marvel movie that weekend. And this year's it was Guardians of the Galaxy, so people got their Star Wars fandom on, and they got their space fix by way of a Marvel movie. John Favreau did the live-action Jungle Book. Looks like they're going to be continuing that with a live-action Lion King. Good decision, bad decision. I think it's going to be an awful decision, but
Don't be so sad.
Yeah.
Stop killing parents, God. What's wrong with you?
What I love is not only does every Disney movie the parents have to die, because it worked in Bambi, so it's going to work forever and ever and ever.
And it still happens at a lot of Disney movies.
Big Hero, all of them, man.
Big Hero 6,
Big
I'll
Hero
never
6,
watch again.
they amped it up by not only having the parents be dead to start with, then killing the brother.
Done.
Way to really ratchet it up, folks.
Hate that movie.
And on the Frozen front, dead parents. It's November 27th of 2019 is when they're planning on a second Frozen. So there's another thing to mark. Indiana Jones 2020. I mean, they're mapping it out.
You think with all the little girls out there, they'll be officially out of that phase, I think. By the time that movie comes out.
Yeah, I know. In my household, Moana is where we're at now, singing those songs. So that's it. A lot of new movies in the works. Disney dropped a bomb load of dates on us, and of course, with Disney owning all these things, there was a lot in there for a lot of different people, not just the Disney princess stuff. So no matter who you are, there's a little bit of something coming out for you. So new SpongeBob's, new movies, and we were going to talk a little bit about health and fitness this week. I didn't manage to tie all the topics in, but one that is inevitably tying in is wrestling. We will begin our wrestling news, though, with Money in the Bank is coming up. It is coming up this weekend. It is part of Father's Day. And what is your prediction on the big Money in the Bank take-home?
We're going with just who Chad wants to see win. That would be Shinsuke Nakamura. And if we're going with who I think logically would go up against Jinder Mahal, it'd probably be Baron Corbin.
See, Baron Corbin, if they want to piss off the fans, because that's what sometimes Vince likes to do.
Why would that piss off the fans?
Yeah, people don't like him.
Oh, my God.
He's not like a Roman Reigns, but he's boring. He's boring. He's got a funny belly. I would say, to me, who I would like to see win would be AJ Styles, because you look at the field of competitors, talent-wise, he's the guy. He's the guy to me. And I think he'd have a great feud. This is whoever it is going to have the briefcase. They're not necessarily getting the next immediate title shot. So that's to say that John Cena doesn't come back on the 4th of July and win the belt, or that any given belt doesn't, that the belt stays where it is. It could go anywhere. But either way, I could see Kevin Owens, from a strategic WWE standpoint, getting the Money in the Bank.
He has the United States Championship. What does he need with the briefcase? That's overkill.
Entertainment.
Absolutely overkill. I want to see somebody new that hasn't had an opportunity yet. That's what Money in the Bank used to be. It was a bunch of people that didn't have it. Now it's like, I bet you Randy Orton's just going to show up. He'll win it. He'll be in it. And
RKO, everybody climb the ladder.
There we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Just cash in.
Literally out of nowhere. But the best runs of the Money in the Bank champions have been guys who took the briefcase and made something of it, and then customized it so it was theirs, or beat somebody and had the dent.
Except for Damian Sandow.
His was great.
His was great, but he didn't. He didn't even get the belt.
He didn't get he was maybe the only guy that didn't get the belt off of it, but he had a very entertaining run. I could see Kevin Owens, not for the sake of the actual title match, but for the sake of being the guy to carry the briefcase, to have that piece there for comedy for the duration of the year. I could see that.
I would be irritated. Absolutely irritated.
It's because you hate fat guys, isn't it?
No, I love fat guys. I love fat guys.
Yeah, right. Racist against fat guys.
Oh, that's racist.
So talking about fat guys.
Race of people.
So I'm pretty sure they grew up on an island. A fat little island.
I doubt it. They run out of food so fast.
The current champion, in WWE on, is it the SmackDown brand?
He is on SmackDown, which is why I watch SmackDown.
Which keeps it confusing. SmackDown has actually been superior as of late, and a lot of people can't believe it.
Well, it's actually funny. They went to that house show that was at Glens Falls not so long ago, I think a couple weeks back, and I try to keep up with WWE, but when you're a wrestling fan, like with all sports, eventually it just becomes background noise, and you look out for the highlights and whatnot. I spend more time watching other forms of wrestling, like Chikara. But we had to look it up on our phones because we didn't know who was going to be here and who wasn't. And then some of the people that were originally drafted, I was like, oh, I'm so excited to see them. Oh, well, no, they're not going to be there.
Yeah, that's a bummer. House shows, it's a roll of the dice. It could be super boring or something.
Oh, it was good.
Really
it was
cool
good
can
house
happen.
Show. I just was convinced that some people that were on SmackDown, they moved to Raw, so I was just
okay, that
SOL.
shuffle that happened. Yeah, that is a bit of a bummer, but still cool. I've been laying off the weekly shows a little bit, so that way the pay-per-views mean something. Because right now we're looking at a pay-per-view every 2 weeks, which is a little excessive for me. And so I've actually, to not wear myself down on the matches that are coming to the pay-per-view, I've just been watching pay-per-views.
I did watch the pay-per-view at the house show, because it was the same night as the Raw pay-per-view. So I was the hero in my section. Because I had the network subscription,
streaming on your phone,
streaming on my phone in between matches.
A little bit of a wrestling inception going on.
Yeah,
that is pretty neat. And you were talking about other wrestlings, made me think about the joke I wanted to insert back at the Transformer section with the color saturation and how Lucha Underground sometimes it gives me a headache because they got that color saturation cranked up so much to give it that grungy underground
touch that
feel.
one either.
But over to the champion of the SmackDowns, Jinder Mahal, because this is what wrestling trolls do, because this is what bodybuilding trolls do. Everybody just wants to say, oh, well, to heck with him, he's on steroids. Oh, yeah, but look at him, he's on steroids. Who cares? First and foremost, I'll get that out of the way. Who cares? Who cares if a bodybuilder's on steroids? Who cares if a wrestler's on steroids? Who cares if college kids are drinking cups of coffee so that they can do better on their tests? I don't care about performance-enhancing drugs. I hit the gym. I've never done any, so I'm coming from a totally non-vested point. I don't have to defend them because I do them or I have no stake in this. But who cares? I don't think he is. He is not super duper big. He's not ridiculously big. He's not super inflated, and he doesn't have the big distended gut. I think he does stick to that hard diet. I mean, I've gained pretty good size with a good workout regimen, and I'm not a pro. I'm not at it all day. And I'm actually a vegetarian, so that's, for me to get the weight and the muscle mass I have, I don't even eat meat to do it. So for a guy like that, that's got the time to eat with the frequency that we do, that is having the meaty meals, and the biggest part is he's keeping his body fat level down. So he is trimmed. But I'm going to defend and say, yeah, he's probably not on steroids. They do the health testing. I'm going to put faith in that, but I don't even care. I wish they didn't do the wellness testing because steroids in proper cycle aren't necessarily the worst thing in the world. I miss my wrestlers being a little bit beefier, and a lot of them don't look like they go to the gym at all now, which is a disappointment for me. I'm all for the talent. We've discussed this in the past. I like my lighter guys. I like guys doing flips, and I like talented wrestlers, but I do miss some big jacked up guys. And I don't care. I don't care what Jinder's doing to stay jacked, if it's legal or not. I've got faith that he's pretty on the up and up, but who cares? Who cares, trolls? Who cares? Why does it matter? He's a big jack dude. He's got the belt. He's a bad guy, and you can boo and hiss him. Do that. Don't get on the internet and talk about the guy's health and wellness. Who cares? It's not your business. What is your opinion?
My opinion is...
Okay, good opinion. Now,
no. My opinion is I also don't care. One, everyone's so wrapped up in telling me that it's fake all the time. When they first meet me, and someone's like, oh, you're like wrestling, well, it's fake. But then if somebody's caught with steroids, that's like the biggest thing in the world. It's a predetermined demonstration of holds, so it's not real. So who cares? It's not. They're not enhancing any performance besides the performance they're giving the crowd that they have anyways without the performance enhancing drugs. Secondly, he doesn't look like somebody's on steroids. He looks like somebody that takes care of his body, somebody that lost a tremendous amount of body fat. I mean, just look at him. The kind of people that say those things, all joking aside, are the same people that go to McDonald's 5 nights a week, and then some bodybuilder will go in there or somebody that's in shape will go in there and order something that's not good for them, and they can eat it, And then the fat person feels so bad, or the out of shape person, I should say, because some fat people are in better shape than I am. You know, so who's to say whatever fat is? We'll get into that some other day. But the out of shape person sitting there eating their burger full of shame, and they're saying, "Oh, that person probably has no life. That person probably just works out all the time, but that person's on steroids." No, if you're pointing the finger at somebody that's on steroids, chances are you don't even know. And I mean, one of the biggest indicators is back acne. You know, like crazy back acne, which Jinder doesn't have. And he's already a big dude. Like, there's not many wrestlers that are around anymore that legitimately look like they're 6'5" when they say they're 6'5", or however tall he is. I just saw him in person. He's a big guy. So if he's going to fill out, he's really going to fill out. Whereas, like, if somebody like, you know, Dean Ambrose, who doesn't need to be jacked because of his character, I get that. But he would look thicker than Jinder, but that's neither here nor there. I don't really care about steroids. I don't care about steroids in sports either. If everyone has the option to do them, they'd all be doing them, and then it's not going to make me be able to hit a baseball. I don't play baseball. It's not going to make me any better. Do some research, people. And the things that typically kill wrestlers are usually the uppers, the downers, the excessive drinking, maybe even the road schedule, or, you know, for all you people out there that think it's fake, go out there and fall on the floor and tell me how good it feels.
Do it over and over and over. The ring is not a trampoline. It hurts. So that's a real thing. Wrestling hurts. There's a lot worse things to do with your body. And that's where we're going to segue. I'll touch lightly upon the psychology, and we're going to get into some health stuff. That's our second round of fat people jokes. We're not body shaming anybody. We're not shaming anybody for anything. If you know us out in real life, in the real world, and what we do with and for people, you'll understand that there's nobody that we are against except for people that are buttheads. And even then, we're up to give those people redemption. We don't judge anybody in real life aside from busting each other's and friends' stones. We don't judge you for the way you're born, the way you're made, anything like that. We come from a completely help the world circumstance and background in our real life. So please don't take stuff like that to heart. We want to have fun with it. We're going to continue to have fun with it. And here we're going to go into stuff that's hopefully going to be a little bit of a helpful segment for you. In that, yes, be proud of who you are. Be proud of how you're born. Be proud of your freckles, your weight, whatever it is. I don't care. That's fine. What we're talking about with those McDonald's folks, that's the internet trolls. That's the stereotypes. And that's the people that are trolls off the internet. Somebody wants to live their life the way they want to live it. That's fine if it's not intruding on yours. That's our perspective. Well, I'm speaking for you, but that's my perspective. I'm pretty sure I know him well.
I'll look at somebody that's, you know, like a wrestling fan that's not in shape, and I'll think to myself, well, why aren't they in shape? You know, they like wrestling, but then I think to myself, that they may be really good at something that I'm not good at, or maybe they just don't care. So how can I fault them for not being something they have no interest in being?
Yeah, if it's not your scene, and I've taught this when I do talks at any Comic-Con and I'm on a panel, I always work in the fact that when somebody is talking about what you do, whether it's your quality as an artist, as a crafter, how you put costumes together as a cosplayer, if you're a heavy-set person at the gym, if you're a jacked guy at the gym, I don't care. If somebody's critiquing you and they are not into that scene, then they are being a bully. If somebody's critiquing you and they are into that scene, then that is criticism and it's open for a discussion and maybe they're giving you feedback. But if you're doing what it is that you enjoy and somebody's giving you crap for it and they're not into that, if they're talking about your Pokemons and they don't play Pokemons, don't listen to them. They're just being a troll. They're just giving you a hard time. Play. So, but I'm passionate about my Pikachus.
Why is it all plural? Pick one. Damn it.
Yeah, it's that old folk talk. So do what it is that makes you happy. You live once, do it. You surround yourself with things you enjoy. Surround yourself with people you enjoy that enjoy the things that you enjoy. And other people that want to chime in, just ignore them. And if you can't ignore them, then find a way to banish them, to get rid of them, to control that situation.
You know what I wish, and I say this all the time because, you know, we both wrestled, or I tried to wrestle. I only went so far with it. You went further than I did. I'm not training to be a wrestler anymore. So I consider myself in shape, but I have some flab. I like to eat like crap, but I try to eat like crap in a smaller amount so I can still enjoy the food I eat. But I'm never going to be what I was when I was doing 6 days at the gym, 3 hours a day. I don't have time for that. And I think about the trade-off. I get to spend time with my wife. I get to spend time doing my hobby, watching things. So that's another thing you want to put yourself in check with mentally, is realistically, what do you enjoy in life? Because if you don't enjoy working out, you're never going to get anywhere with it. But if you can keep yourself at a point that's healthy, then you're just as healthy as somebody that's lifting and doing stuff all day long that's exercise worthy. So just put yourself in mental check, because if you're I don't know, like I work at a desk, I'm compared to the other people that I work around, I'm a lot bigger than they are, and I could probably take them in a fight. Don't want to fight anybody, but I'm just saying. So that's one of the ways I make myself feel better when I look at the TV, and then I'm like, well, I don't look like Jinder Mahal.
Right. Don't use that as a standard. You can use it as an aspiration. Same with the people in the magazines. For girls, it's to say, oh, the girls in the fashion magazines that are skinny, that are models, and there's songs about it.
Give me that curve.
But the idea of a runway model is to see the clothes like they would look on a hanger. So they are literally a walking hanger. That's their job. And to say that...
Not for me, but if that's what you like to do, that's fine.
Locally, we don't talk about skinny. It's about... you can say skinny, you can say fat or fit.
Yeah, there's skinny fat.
Right, and that's what I'm getting at. You watch some of the shows and the models are changing. They're built thin, but they have got loose stuff going on. They're not fit.
Or their organs are a mess.
And
nutrition.
That can be. But even not that degree. Yeah, so skinny's not healthy. Fat is not healthy. And too much of anything is not healthy, because you got, professional athletes, power lifters, CrossFitters that are at it 2-3 days a week at the gym, and their spines are given out, their knees are given out, and they know that and they accept it. It's part of their sport. Same with wrestling. I mean, you look at the guys with double crutches that are older, but it's part of their passion. They sacrifice their bodies for it. And if your lifestyle is what you want to sacrifice your body for, no matter which lifestyle that is, then that is on you. But we're going to get into a little bit of fitness and health now, because I do hit the gym a lot. For me, I enjoy being in shape. I like building muscle and having those goals and reaching it. I'm a go-getter type. You can tell, because I'm a fast talker here. I'm excited. I'm ready. I jumped in head first on this podcast. I've got my comic book company. We just got all this stuff going on. But that's me. I'm high energy. I like to be fit. I like to reach those goals. For me, the gym is a place where you can go, and I have a little bit of social anxiety. So it's a place where people aren't necessarily going to talk to me except for a quick hi, because everybody's busy working out. You got music jamming. You have no real responsibilities. So even if it's a take it slow day,
them weights.
You're kind of there. Please do. It's helpful for everybody.
Talking to you.
So if you're somebody, and I've had a lot of people reaching out to me lately, actually, if you're somebody that wants to get in shape, I'm looking at setting up some kind of actual program and maybe doing a thing, but I'm not here for a sales pitch. I'm here to give you general knowledge. And the problem with a lot of this fitness stuff that comes up is the human tendency that if a little bit's good, a lot is awesome. So if, eating a little bit of low carb is good, then eating no carbs ever is awesome. Not necessarily the truth. If somebody said, oh, sniffing farts is scientifically healthy, then the next thing you know, you'd go on the internet and there would be fart masks where you could breathe farts all day.
My wife would be the healthiest person in the world.
And people would be getting poo facials, and next thing you know, they'd all be getting sick. They'd all be getting sick, but Chad would be getting rich off of his professional hotboxing service. But that's what happens. People hear something's a little bit good, they take it, run with it, run it in the ground, make it unhealthy. Then the other people, the naysayers that want to be in denial, will be like, that's not healthy. I told you the whole time that eating chicken grease is healthy, because that's what I do. Fad diets is just that. We find something healthy, we take it, we go overboard with it. Not to say that they're all terrible. If you can lose weight on a fad diet, go for it. But the scientific tendency is to rebound from it when you end it and actually gain more weight. So the best thing really to do is just to slowly change your diet to have proper macronutrition, which is your carb and your protein intake and stuff like that. Do some research on that and eat healthier foods. Slowly drop out some sodas and drop in some seltzer waters and make yourself a little healthier with the food you're eating so that the things in your system feel better. And more physical activity. Don't go overboard. Don't jump in and just say, I'm going to do this crazy diet and crazy workout from a magazine. Make these basic changes. Get your heart rate up just a little bit a day. My recommendation to everybody when they're starting, before you even start, is do 10 burpees every day for every work day, so 5 days a week, do 10 burpees in the morning. Look up what they are. It's a squat thrust with a jump at the end. Then the next week, do 20 every day. Do that for a month now. And you'll have gotten your heart rate up every day. You'll have gotten active before you take your shower. It'll actually make you feel different for that day. And then you start looking online for a workout program that suits you, or get with a personal trainer, or do something. But just start there. Start small. You don't have to join the gym. You don't have to be a New Year's Day or join the gym and go hog wild and then fall off track. Start small, right in your living room. Do your squat thrusts or your burpees. Change your diet small. Greens and proteins is a good rule. Protein is your meats, your nuts. Look at the package. You want high protein. You want green. You want fiber. You want stuff that's going to make that poo come out. But they always say, and also, you're going to hear a lot of things like, oh, eating spicy foods helps increase your metabolism.
Or cold foods, because your body has to warm it up.
Chewing on ice. Yeah, eating cold foods. Your body has to warm it up. Those things work.
But not the way you want it to.
No. That is trying to save for a car by putting pennies in a sock. Once a month. They're sure enough their money towards the car, but they're just lowering your caloric intake and eating healthier proteins and fibers. That is putting dollars towards your car. That's putting hundreds of dollars towards your car. So just basics. Start with those basics. Don't get caught up in the fad diets necessarily. Don't get caught up in all these little details. Just start with the basics. Eat fewer calories. Figure out how many you need. Kind of track that a little bit. Get that little bit of physical activity in the start. Go for walks. Do those squat thrusts in the morning, the burpees in the morning. And then follow up with that. If you can do that for a month and stick with it, then maybe looking to go in a little bit deeper. But at the end of the day, whatever diet program and whatever workout program is the best one, that's up to you. The one that you can stick with. So you can look at the magazines at 100 different workout programs or diet programs, or what time of day it's best to work out. Doesn't matter. The one that you can actually do and stick with, that's the best one. So don't start one you can't follow up on and fall off track. And again, it's not about fat. It's not about skinny. It's about fit. Just being a little bit more fit. Being a little more comfortable in your body if you're insecure. And if you're not insecure, it's about just keeping that heart rate up, being a little bit healthier. I personally have lost 3 friends to heart conditions in the last 3 years. None of them looked particularly unhealthy. None of them necessarily were. Some of them had unhealthy lifestyles, but you want to feel better every day. You want to be around. So I reach out to those of you that would even consider it. And even if you think you're in fine shape, and you may be, but do a little bit more. Don't go overboard. Just do that little bit. I know I have a very in-depth workout program, but for me, I hate to do cardio. So my sacrifice on that end is I got a jump rope. I come home, I do 100 jumping jacks, which hits the horrible calves, and it at least gets my heart rate up every day to keep that moving. And you've been going into you've been doing the DDP yogas. Let's hear about how that worked out for you so far.
Well, as I mentioned before, I was really big into weightlifting. I did do 6 days a week, 3 hours a pop. And I paid for it. I had a hernia at the age of 29, and the surgery was super painful. And even after the surgery, there's still certain things that if I try to do them, it just doesn't feel right. Not to mention all the other aches and pains I have, because I started weightlifting probably around the age of 12. And I didn't stop or hang it up, or I didn't start having difficulties until the age of about 25, 26. And I'm not saying I did anything incorrect. I'm kind of a slow burn guy, like you mentioned. I adjusted myself, but I always pushed myself that much further, and maybe to unhealthy proportions, especially when it came to wrestling. So I do more of a conservative workout and a conservative diet, meaning that I'm not ever going to enjoy vegetables. I'm just not. I barely like fruit. The wife is a vegetarian, gluten-free. I don't like to eat cardboard, and I don't like to steal food from my pets, so I just don't eat that stuff. But what I've always had success with is finding a lifestyle. And that being said, I still will eat fast food, but I try to eat fast food in small increments, and I keep track of my calories, because the higher the thing is in calories, the higher the fat content, the sugar content, all that stuff's going to be. So if I have to, because I have a job where I'm constantly on the road, but I also sit behind a desk, I'll let you guys wrap your mind around that. But sometimes I have to eat on the go, so I try to make the best of it. I try to stick within my calorie intake, which is about 1,700 calories, because when you eat like crap and you don't move as much as you used to, you can't eat that much. So I eat around 1,700 calories a day, which I never thought I'd be able to do, but I do. And I've stayed at the same weight for about the past 2 or 3 years. And before that, I was up to 230. And that was when I was still trying to weight lift, still trying to stay on the horse, getting hurt, getting sick, and then not being able to lift. And I put on a lot of weight, and I started doing DDP yoga, and it works. It's the only type of cheat workout I found, because everybody's looking for that one workout or that one lifestyle that will completely change everything and not take over your life. Well, not to sound like an infomercial, and no, Diamond Dallas Page isn't paying me. He wouldn't have to. I love the guy. Huge fan. It works. If you stick to the beginner program, and it works. If you are watching this and you're somebody that doesn't feel like you can do it, you can. I used to do it with, I work in the field of, with people that have developmental disabilities, and they would do the adjusted positions, they would do the chair versions, and they all got something out of it. And you can, and you get what you give, and you don't have to give it all. And I subscribe to the DDP Yoga app, although I did buy the DVDs. The app is phenomenal because, again, I can do it on the go, and I can try different programs. Right now I'm doing my own custom one because I started doing more calisthenics because I missed the burn of working on my muscles. So I do push-ups, I do sit-ups, and I do squats. I do about 100 of those every other day paired with the DDP Yoga. So I really want to be One Punch Man. I just don't want to run.
I have the One Punch Man workout is definitely a way you could go. I don't have the, and this is going back to what works best for you. I don't have the patience for the yoga. I tried the DDP yoga. I'm a DDP fan myself. I love the whole success stories with Jake the Snake and Scott Hall. Just don't have the patience. For me, my body parts, I've been using a foam roller because I've been learning more about how all the body parts are tied in. I don't believe any new age crap I read on Facebook until I know the science behind it. And I've started using the foam roller because it's not just about the muscles, it's about the things that bind the muscles. There's a lot of science in there. I lift weights, I lift heavy weights. I like that. I hate cardio, but I understand the importance of getting my heart rate up. And that's what works for me. I like CrossFit, fundamentally. I did go to the CrossFit Live Regionals in Albany a few weeks ago.
Not to hate on the CrossFit people, but I was doing a 5K or was it a 10K? It was some distance. I don't know. It felt like forever in Albany, the Workforce Challenge. And you could tell everybody that was doing CrossFit. And I'm not saying they don't look bad, but they all have like, you know, their pecs aren't that big, their biceps are engorged, and their legs look like they belong to somebody else, which is good. It's good. I mean, they look like Seth Rollins, you know. It's just, I just thought it was funny that you could pick it out. I think it works better for women because the women that I saw all had great physiques. The men just looked, I don't know. If that's your thing, that's fine. I'll stick to the DDP yoga.
It's done great things for a lot of people. I went to the regionals. It was great seeing the camaraderie there. It was just such a positive thing. Being around the room with the protein vendors was neat. Seeing the people work hard. A lot of great fit looking people, great looking fit people. I was just really impressed. It was just such a great positive atmosphere to be around. Now for me personally, I'm a big fan. I can't do it. My years of wrestling and being a little bit older, my body can't handle the workouts that they go through. So that's another example of I have all the respect in the world for the people that do that, especially competitively.
But I couldn't do it.
I just can't do it. And I'm a fit guy.
I know they could probably all kick my rear end at a moment's notice, which is fine. But it's funny you mentioned the foam roller because I never thought I could do yoga. I know I'm never going to use a foam roller. But the DDP yoga, one of the reasons that it was such a strong selling point for me was it felt like it repaired everything.
Yeah.
Like my knees are crap. My rotator cuffs, crap. The joints of my arm, crap. And again, I did do everything by the book. I'm a very cautious individual, but you do it for so long, you do it so intense, and then you have an intense, you know, kind of lifestyle. It catches up with you. And the DDP yoga feels like it's adding back, you know, days, months, and years into my joints, into my back. It's great. I absolutely love it.
Same thing. The more I've learned about with the body repair, and I used to in my head make fun of people that were using the foam rollers and other things like that. And doing that. It's actually
he's doing that after this. He wants me to help.
Hey,
I need help.
The clothes come off. The foam rollers come out.
It is what it is.
But it's I did something I made fun of, but it was being ignorant, and it's worked for me.
I made fun of yoga, and I thought it was fruity and stupid and dumb, and I live by it
And that's not to say we've stopped. If I walk by and you're on a foam roller doing yoga, I'm going to make fun of you.
Oh, I'm going to make fun of you.
But I have the respect for it. So that goes back to, don't be a critic if you don't know something about it, because it could come back to bite you in the butt. So there's that. Be good people. If you want to reach out to me or him about any of this stuff that we've talked about the fitness, we went on a little long about that. But we also dropped a lot of potent information in the beginning, so hopefully it equals out for you. Any of the topics, feel free to write in the comment section. We do read them. You can get a hold of me on Twitter at ComicsPete.
I'm at OptimusChad518. Do not look for Optimus Chad because that is an account I forgot the password for.
So you won't get your messages.
You can send them. I won't be able to read them.
You can also reach me through the Catatomic Facebook. My personal Facebook is out there. The Catatomic Studios is my jam. And if you go to catatomicstudios.com, cat, like the meow, and atomic, like the bomb, catatomicstudios.com. There is banners up there for the Elbow Drop projects, which is the music you hear behind the show. There is banners for the Cat Cos cosplay shirts and material that I make. It's not to make you look like characters, it's to represent yourself as a cosplayer. You'll find my comic books on there and links to the Facebook page for the Catatomic Company, which is me. You can get a hold of me through that. You'll find a link to the Twitter at ComicsPete, which is me personally directly. So you can get a hold of either one of us. There's also links to this show, my art jam programs, anything that I am working on, and much of what this gentleman is working on. CatatomicStudios.com.
I just released something new. If you're a fan of Nintendo or older video games, I just did a remix album where I took some of the classic songs from video games like Castlevania, Final Fantasy, even Super Mario, which I said I never remixed, but I did. You can find that for free on recordingunderwater.bandcamp.com. If I said the link wrong, just Google Recording Underwater, because it's a relatively new URL to kind of encapsulate everything that I do and that some of my friends do with me. So that's all of it's for free. And I also today just put up the Silver Surfer Nintendo remix album, which is 3 tracks from the NES game, which was terrible in my opinion, but the soundtrack is killer. So
Castlevania has a Netflix series coming out, animated, anime style. We'll talk about that a little bit next episode. Nope. We're gonna talk. We'll talk about that next episode. He made me think about it. We'll also get into the process of how he does this 8-bit mixed music, and get you some more information and maybe some better links to some of his tracks. So some of what to look forward to next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Anything you want to sign off on? Thanks a lot, folks. Start that ball rolling and take the next step.